Every once in a while, it's nice to come across a game that you weren't expecting. The kind of game that creeps up on you and then stays with you long after you've finished playing.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Platform and plunged to his death. Stanley began screaming.
Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
And everything went black.
The Stanley Parable was originally developed as a Source Engine mod back in 2010. Its creator, Davey Redden, said that he set out to discover something about video games that hadn't been explored yet. More specifically, what would happen if you could disobey their rules.
You see? It's nothing. No one's even built this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place.
The game tells the story of Stanley, an average man who finds solace in his simple and mundane office job. However, on one particular day, it appears that all of his co-workers have suddenly disappeared. Guided by the narrator, Stanley must step out of the safety of his little cubicle and begin his adventure to find out what exactly is going on.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And that really sums up my whole review, so I'm giving the game a total score of...
Whoa, hold on. Is Goose finished already? But he skipped the entire review. All right, hang on. I'm going to have to reset. One moment, please.
XCOM Enemy Unknown is an isometric strategy...
Sorry, wrong review. Let's give this one more shot.
Much better. Now, at first glance, it might seem easy to categorise this as another artsy walk-em-up in the vein of something like Proteus or Dear Esther. They all have very simple settings, long-winded narration, not much to interact with, and of course, no jump or weapons. So what exactly do you do in the Stanley Parable? Well, essentially, you make decisions. This is because the driving force behind the game is that of choice. You decide how you play the game, and the game responds accordingly.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
And these decisions may appear simple. Left or right, over there, over here, touch that, definitely don't touch that. Meanwhile, you're guided by the soothing sound of the narrator, voiced brilliantly by British voice actor Kevin Brighting.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
The narrator will attempt to successfully guide you to the end of the game by advising you which path to take, as well as narrating the inner monologue of the now troubled protagonist Stanley.
What a room, Stanley thought to himself. What a room, what a room, what a room. Va-va-voom. What a room. This is what Stanley thought.
And it's using this narration that the game achieves a level of hysterical self-awareness and brilliant charm that's very similar to that in the Portal series.
You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
This dynamic narration will react to the decisions you make, often breaking the fourth wall and talking to you directly.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
And should you decide not to listen to these directions and disobey, the resulting dialogue and consequences can easily spin out of control into the strange and the surreal.
Now well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so.
But to say or even show you any more of the game would no doubt ruin the experience, because no two playthroughs of the Stanley Parable are ever really the same. And multiple playthroughs are inevitable in a game that encourages you to poke and prod at its structure.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Almost everyone in the Good Game office walked away from this game with a different story to tell. Depending on how your experience plays out, at some stage or another, you'll no doubt be forced to return back to Stanley's office to once again set out to look for your co-workers. And it's here that you might decide to stop playing the game, and that's totally fine. But in my experience, after you've been presented with so many variables, it's very hard to resist that urge to go back and try out every possible deviation, especially when they can alter the game so radically beyond your expectations.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control.
And this kind of thinking is just so refreshing. I found myself laughing with confusion and disbelief because every time I pushed the game would push back.
Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
I guess the only disappointing moment for me was when I came to the stark realization that the game couldn't possibly live up to the illusion it had created of having infinite choice. However, this was more bittersweet as I soon came to the realization that any game that gave me this feeling of absolute freedom, if only for a brief moment in time, was truly remarkable.
We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
The Stanley Parable might not be for everyone, but in my opinion, it should be played by everyone. It's a hilarious experiment in psychology and non-linear game design that will teach you more about yourself as a gamer than you might want to know. So I'm giving it 10 out of 10. Oh, that's nice.